everyone, and welcome back to another World of Tanks console video. My name is Zach, and today we will be looking at the Star STRV S1, the brand new Tier 8 Swedish premium tank destroyer. But before we can get a look into that tank, as you can probably guess from the thumbnail, the tank destroyer here, we'll be going over to the comparison sheet, and unfortunately I don't have any other Swedish tanks to compare it to because only 2 tanks were released for the Swedish in the update 4.1. Considering it was called a Swedish invasion, that's kind of ironic. More like the Swedish welcoming party to be exact. So, the Star STRV S1. Main focus of today, or at least for this video, what's it all about? So, with the Star STRV S1, you'll notice that I have some statistics off to the right that we'll get to as soon as we scroll down a bit. But firepower stat right off the bat, 48, very in-betweenish. Not really a top TD, but again, tier 8, it's not too bad for the stat. What kind of gun does this use? This uses a 105mm caliber gun. We're going for the base reload. You will notice that the effective for the reload and rate of fire are empty. Please use the sheet on the right to apply those bonuses depending on what you use. As far as the video goes that you will be seeing, I don't have anything on it. That will be later on. But I don't have anything on it. It was before and while I was trying to master the tank. And that was in the very first couple of games, so the ace tanker was a bit odd. But either way, we'll get back to that. The base reload of this 105mm is 10.20 seconds. You can find this out by simply clicking on the detail button on your controller, whether that be Y or I believe that's triangle for PlayStation users, and going in through all the tabs. This is just laid out in a sheet form. The base rate of fire is 5.88, not too bad. Again, you're using a 105. That's not really what you really focused on. Penetration, 288 on the standard AP rounds, 330 on the, one of the unique features of the Star STRV S1 is the standard ammo is actually APCR. I feel I should clarify that. You get a standard APCR as your first round, and a premium APCR, which gives you a penetration boost from 288 to 330. And on the HE rounds, you have 53mm of penetration. Damage, of course, is 390. Most 105 tend to run around this type of damage. Whether that changes, we'll probably see in future updates, but currently that's where it stands. 390 on the standard and the premium round, as well as 480 if you manage to actually penetrate with the 105 on with the HE rounds. Shell cost will roughly run you about 1,160 silver, 4,800 silver if you decide to shoot those premium rounds, 810 on the HE rounds. I do not remember the exact gold cost of this, but I believe it roughly it's around, I believe, 1700 or 17 gold. I don't remember exactly. Don't quote me on that. Shell velocity, of course, on APCR rounds, they have really good shell velocity. 1,450 meters a second on the standard APCR. On the premium APCR, it drops down to 1,400 meters a second, which is only a 50-meter drop, so it's not that noticeable. Again, these are fast APCR rounds. Regardless, you're good for sniping. And 650 meters a second on the HE rounds. Ammo capacity will be 50. Again, I didn't fill any of the DPM in because I forgot, and I didn't, again, base crew, didn't really want to get into all the specifics, but nevertheless. Aim time is 3 seconds, and you might notice off to the right hand over here that you have a 1.5. Now, for the Swedish tanks, just so all of you are aware, we get the brand new siege mode, and this actually applies here to the siege mode mechanic. for me, because I use the driver controller that is down on the crosspad, and for everybody else or every other control scheme that you have, that is left on the crosspad. I don't know the exact buttons for PlayStation users. If someone would like to leave a comment down below and give info on that, that would probably be helpful. So while in drive mode, as we're going to be calling it, you have an aim time of 3 seconds, but when you switch over to the siege mode, you go down to 1.5 seconds. Dispersion in the drive mode again is 0.4, but goes down to 0.29 in siege mode. Elevation and gun depression, if you don't know, on this tank and on the tier 8, 9, and 10 Swedish tanks, the gun is actually fixated to the hull of the tank. It's fixed in place, so in order to actually get elevation and depression, you actually have to enter siege mode and physically point the tank in either up or in giving it elevation or depression, and pointing the gun when you aim. Hull traverse is 26 in drive mode, and turret traverse speed is 26. I feel like I messed up here. Why do I feel like I messed up here? I'm pretty sure. Nah. Well, in siege mode, nevertheless, it is 0.01 and 0.01. I don't know why I feel like I messed up, but I really feel like I messed up. The stat for the mobility in siege mode is significantly lower, but as far as drive mode goes, I don't know if the stat stated on there is based on siege mode or based on the drive mode. It does not specify, and I tried looking around and wasn't able to get a clear definition of which one it actually refers to. Engine power is 540, and power to weight ratio is 16.36. Very good for this little lightly armored tank destroyer, and I stress the word lightly armored, as you will find out. Fire chance is 10%, so this means that if you are running that food consumable, you're most likely going to be switching out that fire extinguisher, as with that kind of a low percentage, you're pretty much feeling a little bit lucky with those food consumables. Top forward speed 50, and top reverse speed is 45. And don't glance back, yes, 45 kilometers is the top reverse speed. This tank goes almost as fast as it goes forward, and that is because the radio operator in the tank actually acts as a backup driver that in drive mode you can go forward and reverse. Swedish were very intuitive as far as their designs for their tanks. But this all goes away when you decide to enter siege mode, and you are locked at 8 kilometers forward and 8 kilometers backwards. Keep that in mind, that the way this tank is meant to be used is drive mode for going to where you need to be, siege mode to be able to get into position. After you're in position, take advantage of that gun and put it to work. Terrain resistances of this tank is 1.4 on hard, 1.5 on medium, and 2.6 on softs. And I always feel like I messed that up, but those are the stats. Survivability stat is 21, and that is key because unless you are more likely getting used to the siege mode, you are going to die right off the bat if you don't play a very careful game or selective in what you approach this tank with. So, hit points of the tank is 1,000. Not bad, not good. It's not the best. I believe there's one other tank or two other tanks that beat this out. I'm not too sure exactly, but I believe it's the Americans. The T-28 has, I think, 1,050. That's about it. But again, not bad overall. Very good for amount of hit points for a tier 8. Overall armor thickness is 5mm to 45mm. So keep that in mind. With the S1, you want to take advantage of lower caliber guns. Anything over 90mm, I believe, will penetrate you due to the 3 caliber rule that I guess applies to console that I wasn't aware of, or maybe I'm really dumbfounded at that. Hull armor 30, side on the front, side is 30, and on the rear 30. Unfortunately, there is no turret on this, so those are zeros. But one of the things that the S1 actually excels at is the concealment stat. 79, which is really good for this tank destroyer, and one you're going to be taking advantage throughout your game. When stationary, this tank gets a 0.46, very good indeed, and on the move is 0.29. Low profile, perfect for you to get into those take advantage of the terrain, use those low ditches, get in, get out. That's the way you go. Spotting stat is 62, and that is because the base view range of this tank is 350. So probably most of you are going to be putting binoculars, coded optics, and maxing out your situational awareness and recon perks very fast, as that view range is actually very poor. And you're going to want to stay in the back for most of this. If that hasn't been emphasized throughout the video, try to keep it. That view range is something that it lacks, but again, with the stationary concealment, you probably aren't going to be too scared of having tanks come close to you as long as you don't give away your position. So the base radio range is 850. Again, really good. Take advantage. Please use this. So this tank actually costs 11,900 gold. Wargaming had this on sale for the past month, but due to family reasons and I wasn't able to get out the video. Apologies for that, but this is at least covering a tank review of the tank. Premium bonuses, silver, 60%, that is really good, and I believe the Black Edition tanks still beat it out, as well as a few of the new, was it Lurver beats it out, or low for most of you. I don't remember exactly how many, but there's quite a few. 60% is very healthy for a tier 8. That's actually a little bit above average. The standard for most tier 8s is 50%. But again, tier 8, your premium tanks are mainly used for silver grinding, and that's exactly what this will help you with. Premium bonus for XP, unfortunately, is 10. That, I believe, is standard. It's either 10 or 15 for tier 8s. So that's not really noticeable. And one thing you might be noticing down here is premium bonus for crew. And the Star STRV S1 does not get that. However, the other Swedish does, and we will go through that when we get to that tank. But without further ado, let's get into some gameplay. So the Star STRV S1, the very unique looking tank, and pretty much everyone always turns to you when you start off. You will hear me occasionally go in and out. This is from a recording, and I don't have a way to mute myself through that yet, as OBS does not have that capability, or at least this version of OBS at the time of the recording. But I love the way this tank looks. If this is anything to expect from the Swedish tanks, I can't wait to get my hands on the tier 8, 9, and 10 Swedish tank destroyers. They're going to be fun. I'm actually looking more forward to the tier 10 heavy, but we'll get to that when the Swedish are released. There it is, that small audio. But as you can see, your standard round and your premium round are APCRs, but keep in mind your standard round has 288 millimeters of penetration. That is very good for a tier 8 tank. And I believe is one of the highest so far that I've noticed for tier 8 premium tanks, I have to state, because I believe, pretty sure the Soviets on the BL-10 gets a little bit better penetration. No, it doesn't. Never mind, apologies. But very good penetration, so you won't necessarily have to dip into the premium round. But right away you see me get into a position using drive mode, activating siege mode. You can see that little icon there on the left of the reload timer or reload bar, giving the 1.2 seconds. And look at that snap. Very good shot putting into the side of the 112. I always get confused because it looks similarly to the IS-3 from afar. But nevertheless, So, in order to switch into siege mode, it takes 2 seconds. And in order to switch into drive mode, from here you can see 1.2 over there in the corner, and that is actually referring to how long it takes to switch back into drive mode. But man, is this gun on this tank really good. I'm actually taking advantage poorly of the bushes in front of me, but putting the gun to work is the main focus here. Even when firing from this behind this bush, I still wasn't detected for majority of the game, and all I'm doing is take advantage of this. I like this the way the Swedish works as far as their tank destroyers point where you want to aim and the entire tank moves, but it does not affect something I forgot to state: binoculars and camouflage net while in siege mode. As long as you don't move forward, backward, will stay active in this tank while you're moving from left to right. That is something I forgot to keenly mention in the tank comparison sheet. And still, I love just putting in shots without being detected right away, and this is without the camouflage net. Now I actually use the camouflage net. I can actually get have tanks come a lot closer within that 250 meters, and nobody detects you. So right there, because I don't have Sixth Sense on it, I decided to reverse back just in case, get a little bit further behind the bush, take advantage of it, and just start putting more shots into them. And even to now, they cannot see me. Just putting shot after shot, no one returning fire. That is the way I love my tank destroyers, and that is the way anyone should love their tank destroyers. So just picking apart the IS and the Oni as best as possible. Final shot. Will it go in? Done. 141. So right there I kind of screwed up. Fired. The Tiger 2 unknowingly spotted me, but quickly get put out. And the IS didn't realize how low my tank was. Shot went right over me. And regardless if that had even touched me, I would have lost around 450 hit points as the 390 average, low armored tank. Ooh, wow, he actually fired blind. It was really close. Some people severely underestimate the height of the tank, so they just auto aim. But let's see if I'll get the shot in. No, the dead Shiri, I believe, blocks that. So 14 pens, 3 tanks destroyed. Putting this tank to work in probably one of the more unique places is what you should do with this tank destroyer. Get into a position using drive mode, enter siege mode, take advantage of the spot, try to use your concealment, switching into that siege mode, switching out, going back and forth, and I missed my opportunity there just by screwing around. You will honestly love the feeling going from drive mode to siege mode because of the feeling of the gun or the gun handling, simply from just the amount of difference is just compared to any other tank destroyer that you will drive. This takes it to a whole new level, and I love it. It's a really great feature. It was probably one of the most requested tanks in majority of the year. When are the Swedish coming? When are the Swedish coming? Well, you get your hands on the new tier 8 Swedish premium tank destroyer, and until the Swedish are released, fire through the bricks. Oh wait, that was wood. Fire through the wood. Great shot at the end. So 15 pens, that equivalates to, drumroll please, 4,987 damage. Very healthy for a tier 8 tank destroyer with 146,373. I run a premium account, so this I believe the silver was 90,000. Very good premium tank as far as silver earnings will get you. We can see the efficiency sheet right there running through that.
Oh, knee felt some shit. 1,237.
So overall, very good game. Had fun playing this, and I still have fun playing this tank. Unfortunately, sometimes you get those games where your teams are just potatoes no matter what you do, and you get rushed, and people forget, myself included, when you're in the panic, to deactivate siege mode and just reverse. When in drive mode, always know that if you are facing an enemy, switch to drive mode, just reverse the tank. It goes 45 kilometers in reverse. Take advantage of it. That is probably one of the best things I can recommend for you is don't forget, or remind you of to say, don't forget that your tank can go 45 kilometers backwards and 50 forwards while in drive mode, I have to stress. In siege mode, 8 kilometers is all you got. So, best thing to do is play the mid to long range tank destroyer. Don't feel like you can get up into anyone's face with this tank, and if you do, you will probably regret it. That's the best thing I can do. But that's all that I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like, please leave a like down below or comments of anything you would like to critique, because I assume that's what most of you will probably do anyway. But that's it for me. Take it easy and have a good night.